Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a TAO update coming for you. Now, the last video that I put out, it was 8 days ago today. It's back on 420. We were looking at this area. I don't know if you can see it right up here. Right around $300. And just a little bit further, we were looking somewhere around 314 in that area as a local target. We also pointed out these other areas up here at 384 being our next Fibonacci area, that if we got a little rambunctious and decided to break above that area, that was where we're headed, 384. And that's basically what we've done. We left that video at the very end with some shorter term targets, and 312 was an idea we were looking at, but mostly just getting above that 300. But that was our target, so even bigger targets on the board, and we're going to take a look at these guys today. Here we are right now. Ta-da-da! Where did we come up to? 389. 389. Now I pulled a new fib and kind of lined these. There might be some slight variations in the dollars, but that 384 target that we were talking about there being the bullish one, oh, we got it, baby. That was a nice little move from TAO from these areas it was at about the 235 at this previous low that we had, all the way up there. 62% gains. Now you can't shake a finger at that one and call it bad. We're on the 4-hour chart. Now let's take a look at what we got going on here. Now, one of the things I do want to point out, we did have the bigger targets. There are still more bigger targets coming. The easiest way to do this, ladies and gentlemen, is take a Fibonacci swing high to swing low. Tell me where prices are going to go. There's a target. That 524 one that is still on the table. We could get there. I just don't see us getting there today or too soon, but it is still on the table for a goal for us to work to, as well as this area over here at 456. Now, if we get rambunctious and go above here, we can be hitting that, but it's very doubtful, and let me explain why. Getting up to this 382 Fibonacci area, while we're not making a higher high, which would be ideal, the ideal situation is that we could come up here to 527, make a higher high, and then come for a higher low. Well, we got to take that in baby steps. We are making highs over these areas that we got here. This is a great area to get rejected off of, and the signs I'm seeing that are telling me that could be what we're looking at here, that we may not get too much further. However, if we do, based on this area right here, well, this high right here, all the way down to this low, I am looking at this guy next. That little guy right there. Let's just see if we can convolute our whole chart thing. I'm gonna make this little guy red. This is a 786 Fibonacci. We could be headed right up there to 426. Not quite make it to 456. So that's the news I'm putting out. If I'm putting out a target at all right now for anything higher, I would be looking a little bit more for this one. So I'm going to draw a little arrow over there. I like to do that for the ones that I think are the strongest. But I'm not going to rule out this 456 area. We could just go ahead up there. And maybe if a miracle happens, we can go over here. We got some good things going on. One of the things that I like to do when price is escalating like this is draw a trend line. Now we got one hump. We can get 2 humps, we could get 3 humps. There's a possibility. I'm not going to take it off the table. Short term, I'm looking for if we do go a little higher, and we can. But we're starting to, the moving averages are telling us we need to pull back, okay? But with the strength of this move, the way that we're going right now, we got a different trajectory going on. We lost this one, now it's an internal trend line. That's another indication that these areas should be resistance for us here in the 4-hour as well. So what I would be seeing happening maybe over this next coming week is that maybe we get resistance here and we start working our way back down to the trend line and test it. We can figure that out in just a moment where well, we could do it right now. Let's just go ahead and do it right now. Where would you come back to, darling? I can give you an idea. A nice little place to look at adding to your bags or maybe getting into TAO if you haven't been into TAO would be at this 382 Fibonacci area right here, about 324. So for short term, if we find ourselves back there, that might be a sweet spot to take a nibble. But I want to caution you that if we lose this trend line, well, then we're starting to come back to some other areas, and that might be a little steeper. If this is our top, and we don't know if it's our top or not, but if it is, and we do decide to break that little trend line, man, we're looking back in this area, 250 to 276. So if trend line is broken, and we will now color this little guy red just to make him a little line in the sand there. That is an idea. If it gets broken, that's a time to have a stop loss below the trend line is a good idea, and then you can catch it lower if it comes down to 245, 260, is that 260, 270, 280, right there in those little ranges. I think we should go ahead and put a few little lines here so we can get some prices. So right over here, these two little green, 449, 279. That would be our more bearish, but it's not really that bearish. It'd be making a higher low. That'd actually be healthy. But from what I'm seeing, let me just reiterate again: 1 hump, 2 hump, possibly 3 hump, then dump, and we may be a little bit higher than this by that time. That's just calculated on this as being our high. But this is showing sign that we could be getting a double top. Let's take a quick look at some indicators here on the 4-hour. This is concerning. You see how, if we can come over here and you see the price, the tops, when we look at the tops over here from candle bodies, it's rising. It's going up here, and it's even going up over here. However, your RSI's got a different story. The tops on them are coming down, and coming down. This is what's known as RSI bearish divergence, and that is an indication of a possible trend reversal, meaning that, hey baby, we might be looking at these areas. Now the thing is, when you get a nice strong move like what we had out of here, sometimes it takes 3 instances. I've counted 3 instances. I've counted an internal trend line. We're finding resistance at it, a 382 resistance Fibonacci area. The charts are suggesting that this area right here is a very possible. Somebody forgot to play the light bill. This could be the top for right now. We will see if we get a retracement and see if the 324 area holds. That's going to be imperative. If it does, and it might, then we could be bouncing up to 426, 456, maybe higher. That would be a scenario that I can see us getting there. Again, cautious if this red line is broken. It could take a little nasty drop, and so we would definitely want some stop losses somewhere below there. But it's just a 10 to 20% drop, but no need to rot it down, baby. Much better to catch it here if that did happen, and then take another 60, 70, 80% gain from there to our next target areas, right? So be cautious, be careful. We're at an area of resistance. The moving averages do suggest that, and when this happens, that we even though we might go a little higher, possible, we should be snapping back to some of these areas. First area would be the trend line, second would be here. If you like this, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. This is our TAO update. I do want to mention that our indicators are kind of hot at the moment. Just a little hot at the moment, and MACD, well, she's undecided at the moment, so we got to see how this plays out. There's some other indicators that look like maybe we could just, get a breather and keep going. Keep that in mind. Come join me nightly, 10:30 p.m. on average, this channel, and we go over the crypto market every night. And then I'll put out these videos. Thank you for requesting update to this video. Here you go. See you on the next one.